Formica ereptor, the gene thief ant, is also a social parasite. On the west coast of Africa in the dry savanna, this Formica ereptor queen has usurped the Matabele ant colony. She has killed their queen and taken on her scent, and the remaining Matabele ant workers are now here to serve her at her whim. But they will not last forever, and this queen will now lay her own eggs and in the process take over the African savanna. But she will not remain unchallenged. There are 3 dangerous creatures lurking in the savanna, and it's up to her brood to defend her against these threats. Let us see how she fares. Hello there all you absolutely magnificent people, and welcome back to another episode of An Ecologist Plays, where we talk about nature while playing games. My name is Will, I'm an ecologist by training, and this is Empires of the Undergrowth, one of the last episodes we'll be doing, for now at least, until the next DLC releases. But for today's episode we will be playing as the Formica ereptors, and well, they are trying to survive in the African savanna, so let's jump on over to them. We are going to be playing triage today, and we are going to change our colony setup here. Now this Formica ereptor colony is really taking the best of the best here. They have their typical Formica ereptor workers here. They also of course have the ranged wood ants here, the leafcutter mages, the fire ants, and then also little black ants, surprisingly. They also are in this colony. So let's jump right in, shall we? Now this colony is starting with some Matabele ants. However, they over time will decrease in number. They are just here to start with. Soon there will be none of these Matabele ants left, and they will be replaced by some of the other Formica ereptor ants. Now something interesting has happened with the Formica ereptors here. Because they have taken over a Matabele ant nest, they seem to also show a preference for termites. And instead of feeding on the wide range of general food that the Formica ereptors usually feed on, these ants here refuse to eat anything other than termites. And this pickiness may have some semi-unforeseen consequences for the colony. Under the cool of night, the Formica ereptor colony, thus far consisting entirely of Matabele ants, make their way to the termite mound to the north. These termites, harvested termites, Macrotermes bellicosus, are harvesting plant matter to fuel the fungal growth within their colony. But this is not as peaceful a life as they would have wanted. The first Matabele ants are here. Using their stinger, they inject the termites with a very potent venom, immobilizing them, allowing them to carry them off to the nest. The raid is over before the termites are able to respond with their own soldiers. The Formica ereptors will now have to raid a different nest. The Formica ereptors are hatching their first fire ants. These zesty soldiers will make a fine addition to the ereptor army. There are 3 termite mounds in the savanna here. The Formica ereptors are making their way to the eastern colony. Now with the Formica ereptors consisting of Matabele ants and fire ants, they will make short work of the termite workers that are harvesting the plant matter close to their nest. But they have to raid quickly because the termites will respond very soon with their own soldiers, and here they come. Making a hasty retreat, the Matabele ants of the Formica ereptors are carrying their spoils of war back to the nest. Another colony is ready to be raided, the colony to the west. The raiding column sets out, the Solenopters invicta leading the charge, followed shortly behind by the Matabele ants. This will likely be the last raid before the sun rises. The termites will not remain outside during the heat of the day. Being very sensitive to sunlight, they will retreat back to their nest when the sun rises. Making a hasty retreat, most of the Formica ereptors are able to retreat before the termites mount a defense. But not all of them made it. As the sun rises, the termites have retreated back to their nests. There's nothing now for the Formica ereptors to do but to excavate their nest, looking for a few snacks underground. Ever restless and ready to try new tactics, the Formica ereptors have also bred their first Formica rufus. The ranged wood ants are now also part of their strike force. Luckily for the Formica ereptors, the underground section of their nest is filled with termites, whether those be either the remnants of past colonies or termites trying to establish new colonies in this old termite nest. Regardless, they are very valuable snacks for this colony. Many chambers of the underground sections of this nest hide a bountiful harvest, consisting of a new termite queen and king along with some workers. These termites are trying to establish a new colony in this old extinct termite colony. Very often one lineage of termites will be present within a nest for about 2 or 3 generations, whereafter they will die out and the nest will be taken over by a new termite lineage, with a new king and queen establishing as the reigning monarchs in the abandoned nest. These termites here will never have that chance, because they are now food for the Formica ereptor colony. Dusk. The sun is setting, and with it, the termites are preparing to collect some plant matter to take back to their colonies. Now is the time to strike. The Formica ereptor colony sets out, ever anxious to harvest more termites for their food stores. These workers, although small, are not completely defenseless and will attempt to defend themselves. However, they are no match for this colony, and many are carried back to the nest as the spoils of war. But now the Formica ereptors are doing something strange. They are systematically killing off the old workers of the Matabele ant colony that they took over, and they are now replacing them with Formica rufa. Though this seems like a poor choice, it does make sense. The wood ants mature more quickly than the Matabele ants and are therefore cheaper to sustain. This is a strategy that may yet benefit the colony. The Formica ereptors are encountering earwigs out in the savanna tonight. These invertebrates, however, are no match for the colony. But instead of harvesting these insects, the colony simply marches past, letting them decompose. They have other prey in mind. More termite workers ripe for the harvest. The Formica ereptors dispatch the workers easily, and they are carried back to the nest to sustain the colony. As the soldiers are making their way out to defend the nest, the Formica ereptors do something strange. They are standing and fighting. Instead of simply running back to the colony as they have done so many times before, these ones are choosing to fight. It unfortunately is costing them many individuals. Sensing defeat, they are retreating back to the nest, leaving their fallen sisters to decompose. And again the Formica ereptors are dismantling the old brood chambers. The Matabele ants are no more. And in their place, the ereptors make their own tanks. They are preparing to hatch their first leafcutter mages. The sun is rising over the savanna, and the termites retreat back to their nests. The Formica ereptors are again taking this opportunity to excavate their nest a bit further, uncovering more termite bodies to store for later use. The last of the termites in the nest are putting up a final fight. However, it is short-lived. Dusk approaches, and it is time for the Formica ereptors to do one last raid. They are sitting out in their usual manner, charging forth blindly, encountering an agama, a rainbow lizard. These lizards have been basking in the sun, but now stand in the way between the Formica ereptor nest and the termite victims. This agama has been driven off and killed by the Solenopsis venom coursing through its body. The rest of the raiding column has arrived at the termite mound. Mounting a swift offense, they dispatch a number of termite workers and start carrying the spoils back to the nest. They have to kill and dismember as many termites as they can. This will be the last raid for a while. With the leafcutters now also in tow, they are able to inflict heavy casualties on the termites. However, the termites do eventually prove too much, and the Formica ereptors are driven off. It will take a more monumental effort to withstand such an onslaught.
A few moments later.
The Formica ereptor colony has split in two, the melee-focused fire ants and leafcutter ants charging blindly forth, attempting to kill as many of the soldiers as they can, while the Formica rufas spray formic acid down on the termites from behind. As a new wave of soldiers arrive, the ants make a hasty retreat, only losing a few of the leafcutter ants that are too stubborn to retreat. There's an eerie silence over the savanna tonight, where normally there would be a variety of crickets chirping and many other smaller arthropods moving around. Now there is silence. Instead, there is a sun spider, also known as a Solifuge. This is Xeria kieserlingi. interestingly enough, although the solifuges are usually called sun spiders, the solifuges in the genus Xeria are commonly called moon spiders because, well, they are nocturnal, as all sun spiders are. They are called sun spiders because, well, they like to hide from the sun. Solifuge, well, sol means sun, and fuge means to take refuge from, so to hide from. Solifuges are known to hide from the sun. And if you ever encounter one during the daytime, well, they will very often be running towards you, but they're not trying to attack you because, well, these chelicerae over here that they are using to attack their prey and bite them, they lack venom. They are quite harmless to us as humans. Yes, they will give you a nice pinch and maybe they'll draw blood, but there's no venom in these chelicerae. So instead of trying to attack you, why are they running at you? The thing is that they are, again, just trying to hide from the sun. They are chasing your shadow. And very often if you just stand still, they will just try to crawl under your shoe and hide away over there. They are not aggressive. They are terrified. They're just looking for a nice, safe place to live. Xeria kieselingi, an amazing arachnid. And yes, they are arachnids, similar to spiders and scorpions. However, they are neither of those two, even though they are called sun spiders or camel spiders, and in some cases called wind scorpions, because they kind of look like little scorpions blowing around in the wind as they are running around, zigzagging all over the place. But they are in an order all on their own. They are in the order Solifugia. Now, being an arachnid, well, arachnids typically have 8 legs. Yet, if you look here, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, seemingly 5 pairs of legs here, which would mean this Solifuge here, this arachnid, is an arachnid with 10 legs, but that cannot be. But it is, in fact, still an arachnid. This first set of legs, or what looks like legs, are in fact not legs. These are the pedipalps. They are technically part of the mouth of this Solifuge. And these pedipalps would, in scorpions, form the pincers that we see in front. And we'll see that later on when we encounter the massive, massive scorpion. So these are pedipalps. They're not true legs. You also know they're not true legs because you can look at how many segments they have. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, technically 5 segments in each of these pedipalps. The true legs, on the other hand, will have 7 segments. Okay, so the true legs, 7 segments. The pedipalps in front here, just 5 segments. And, well, these arachnids are amazing. You will notice on the back here, there are these harder sections here. And that is very similar to what we see in the termites. Although difficult to see in these workers and soldiers here, you can more commonly see it in the queens, where there are these harder sections, harder plates on top. Those we call tergites, and it's the same we have over here. These are also called tergites. Now, if we were to look at the underside of this magnificent arachnid, you would also see some hardened sections underneath here. These are not called tergites, they are called sternites. So the harder sections on the top called the tergites and the bottom called the sternites. They are separated by this membranous section over here. This membranous section is able to stretch quite a bit, allowing the camel spider here, or the sun spider, or the solifuge, to actually eat surprisingly large prey animals, and have this abdomen at the back here actually expanding quite nicely. I did just call this backside here the abdomen, and when we're looking at arachnids, yeah, we can often call this front section here, this first section of the body, we can call that the cephalothorax, meaning the head and thorax together, or the chest area together, and then we typically call this the abdomen, and that's based on insects having 3 body segments. You've got the head, the cephalos, you've got the thorax, the middle section, and you've got the abdomen. But there's no evidence that arachnids ever had 3 segments. So the use of the term cephalothorax to actually refer to the head and thorax section together may actually be incorrect. We may actually just want to call this the prosoma, meaning the first body or the front body, and then this here the opisthothoma, which just means like the back body. So the first section of the body and the last section, or the back section of the body. Anyway, I digress. This Xeria kieselingi. Notice as we just have a look here how it moves. It walks with the pedipalps over here stretched out, kind of trying to sense the world around them. And the Xeria genus, like the Xeria kieselingi, belongs to the family Solifugidae, and they are characterized by having a whole bunch of papillae, or little hairs, with a sensory function on their pedipalps. So they are able to sense through chemicals and vibrations the world around them. The eyesight is not really great. I mean, they've got two eyes in front here, relatively simple eyes. Some species of sun spiders also have other eyes on the side here, another pair of eyes, but they are vestigial. They are pretty pointless, not serving any real purpose. Now, the sun spiders will be walking with these pedipalps stretched out, and they are trying to sense the world around them. They also have this first set of legs here. Notice there's something strange about them. Where all the other legs end in these claws or the tarsi, the first set of legs doesn't have that. And the first set of legs, like the pedipalps, will have more of a sensory function. In essence, they are just walking on these three pairs of back legs. They're not using the first pair of true legs to actually walk. So they, in essence, are functioning like an insect by walking on three pairs of legs, and then they've got two sensory legs in the front here. Really absolutely amazing. It really is a pity that this is a female and she is looking for a place to lay her eggs. Solifuges will have one breeding attempt per year, and this female has picked up sperm from a male and she is ready to deposit her eggs, usually laid in the leaf litter or underground in a nice damp place. That is where they will be laying their eggs. Some females, some species at least, the females will then have some parental care and actually take care of those eggs and protect them against predators, but others will just kind of lay them and abandon them and go off on their merry way. And this female has found a very nice place to lay her eggs, here by our nest. Attacking us with her chelicerae, she also stuns us by thumping onto the ground, killing a few of our ants in the process and stunning the rest of them. She is now excavating a nice burrow to go and lay her eggs, and unfortunately this is going to wreak havoc with us in our colony. Luckily the ereptors are able to mount a very successful defense here, mounting the sun spider, injecting her with Solenopsis venom, and eventually she is subdued. She will now, although not feeding a lot of individuals in the colony, at least she is some food for the colony as well. And with that, the Formica ereptors carry on with the next raid.